Right. Good morning. It's afternoon, actually. Good afternoon, class. It's here again, Mr. Samkote, taking you through the IT. Okay, today we have to revise the assessment, informal assessment, which was posted on the website. So if you want my details, this is my email. If you want to contact me. But let's go straight to the revision assessment here. Right. This is the assessment which was posted on our website, which you are supposed to be doing, guys. Right. So we'll revise together, go through all the questions together. But this was the question given to you. Right. There was a database name called property table property.mdb is a database, and it had a table called property table. These were the fields which were in your database. This ID of data type text, area, data type text, rooms, data type number, swimming pool, true or false, price, which was in currency, then the agent, which was a text, then dollar price, which was also a currency. Right, so it's dollar price currency there. Right, right. This was part of the information which was in the table. You can see the IDs there, the area, which area it is regarding the province, I'm sure, or the towns. This one, Limpopo, City, Cape Town, MP, Mpumalanga. And then the corresponding rooms of these properties. These are property ID, the area where the property is, the room, rooms, number of rooms which the property has, then whether the property has got a swimming pool or not. If it's ticked, it means that the property has got a swimming pool. Then also I've got the price of the property, then the agent who is behind the sale of the property and the dollar price there. Right. Of course, there was it was a practical. There was the data files they provided, but we are going to do it not in Delphi, but we'll be just doing it here on in Word. We'll be writing the answers there. Right. So the first question I was saying, calculate the total properties in the above mentioned table and display the results in EDT display. Okay, so we are looking at how many properties are there in our table. Okay, but so there are two ways of doing it. I have done the first one. The first one, we have got an inbuilt function which is called record count. This function, record count, returns the number of records in your table. So I've made a variable iTotal, which is equals to this one is the data module name, followed by the add table name dot record count. So it will return the total number of records. Then I can display that that number of records in an EDT display. They said in this EDT display. So in this EDT display, I'm now displaying the iTotal, which is equal to the record count. Data module name dot table name dot record count, returning the total number of records in our table. Right, that's just take note of this function. It returns the total number of records in your table. So that is what we were required to do in that question. Okay. Then we got question 1.2. Right. It says display only the properties that are available in Limpopo. Limpopo is written as LIM in the DB grid. Right. So we are going to display the number of properties. We are going to display only the properties that are available in Limpopo in our DB grid. Right. Use an SQL statement there. Select all. These are the fields. We are selecting, just returning all the fields. The fields which are talking about, if I go up there, this ID, area, rooms, swimming pool, price, agent, and dollar field. So we are selecting all those fields or returning those fields from our table name is TBL property. TBL property, or you can just say property table, or you can just, depending on how the table was named. If I can check very well, the table name is property table, so there's no TBL there. There's no TBL, so it's just property table. Property table, from property table, where area is Limpopo, Lim for Limpopo. So it will return all the records which are listed in the area of Limpopo. So I expect, for example, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this properties to be retained because they are in this area of Limpopo. Right. I hope you have understood that one. Right. Then we go to the next one. Question 1.3. 1.3. Right. Question 1.3 is saying display all the properties sorted first in according to price from the big to a small, and then alphabetically according to area. Okay. Alphabetically according to area. So we have to sort in descending order of price, then in ascending order of the area. So here we are selecting all from you said the table name is property table, where right, we are starting with the price. So we don't have a way here. There's no condition there. There's no condition there. But we are ordering ascending of what? Of price, descending of price. They said we sort in descending order of price first. So you have to put a price here. Right. So price in what? In descending, then you put a comma, then area in ascending. Right. Corrected there. So we are selecting all from the properties table, order by price. In which order? Descending from the biggest to the smallest, meaning that the most expensive one first. The most expensive one comes first. Then we also sort according to area, meaning that the one with the first, which comes first in the alphabetical order, will be listed first. For example, we'll say the most expensive one, here I can say the one with the 3.7, 3.79 there. Maybe this is the most expensive, so it will be the one come first. Is it? If there are two properties with the same price, right? Now the one with which comes first in the alphabetical order will be the one which has to be displayed first. Okay, right. So this is how it is done. This is how it is done. Select all, property table, order by the price in descending order. D is DESC is descending, then ASC is ascending. So it's ascending in terms of the area. Okay, I hope you've understood this, guys. I hope you have understood this, guys. So allow me to move on to the next question. Next question 1.4. Allow me to move on to the next question 1.4. Right. So in 1.4, it's saying calculate and display the average price of all the properties as a monetary unit with 2 decimal places in the component EDT price, right? So what does it mean? It's monetary unit means that we have to convert it to currency, right? So that is what it means. For example, if the figure is just this, it will be having an arrow there to represent currency and two decimal places, right? That's the average, okay? Now, we know that our table has got a lot of fields. So we have to loop through all those. It has got a lot of records, I mean. So it has to loop through those records, adding the what? The price. All right. So here we go. We've got our variable, which is going to accumulate the price, where we are going to keep our total price. Okay. But of course, we've got the DBM data module name, which is DBM property dot the table name. This must be property table dot first. What do we mean by this? We are going to the first record because we want to add from the first record to the last one. So we always have to point to the first record first. Right. You always have to go to the first record before we start looping so that it can loop from the first record in our table. Then we've got our loop. Why not DBM, the data module name, then the table name, proper table dot not end of file or not end of table. So it will loop until the end of the table. At begin, what are we doing? We are incrementing the total with the new total for each. So what it does is, for example, at first our total is what? 0. So it adds 0 plus the first record is the first property's price. If I go up here, I'll see that this is my first property. So the add, this is the first property to add, right? Then it loops again. Now maybe our total is maybe I can say 1,500,000. Then it loops again. It looks for again at the price for the next property. Then this one is very important. Dot next so that it can go to the next record. You don't have to leave this one. So it loops. Then it goes to the next record. Then it adds the price for the next property until the last property, because we've got this condition there, why not end of file, until it gets to the end of file, then it will stop looping. Okay. So by the end of this loop, we will be having the total price of all the properties in the table, or the total price of all the properties or records in our table, right? So outside the loop now, when it's done calculating the total, that's when we have to do the calculation for our what? For our average. We cannot calculate the average inside this loop there. Why? Because it is too combining the what? The total. We can't be calculating the average whilst it is not yet done calculating the totals, is it? So we've got average there, which is a variable. which I can declare. Average is equals to the total, which we have, remember, this one must be R, like the other top variable there. Right. So I'm saying our average is equals to total divided by, remember we used this record count, and we said it returns the total number of records in our table. So we are using that function to divide with the total so that we can get the average. Remember, the average is total or sum divided by the number of items or number of records in our table. So in other words, we are saying the total divided by the number of records. Total price of all the properties divided by the number of records. So this will return the average. Okay. This will return the average. Then if you go up there, they said this average must be, they said the average of all the properties as a monetary unit with 2 decimal places in this component. That's why we are going to display our average price. Right. So here I'm displaying now the average price. I'm saying EDT price equals to float to string F for formatting. Okay, it's F for formatting because we want to format our output to currents to 2 decimal places. So float to string F, and it takes 3 parameters. The first parameter which you are formatting is what the variable which you are formatting is R average. Then the second parameter is the formatting which you want. We want to format in currents. There's also FF fixed. I'm sure you learned about it in grade 10. FF fixed, which format general numbers. Maybe it's just a number, general number of maybe 10,3, 10,4 or whatever. But here we want to format it to what? To currents. Is it? That then this number determines the number of digits before the decimal place. We are just assuming that the price of this property cannot exceed 10 digits before the comma. Then this one is the precision or the number of decimal places. We know that in currents, the lowest unit is cents. So cents is represented in 2 digits, so 2 decimal places. So that's why I'm putting a 2 here. So it means that it will be 2 decimal places. Your 50 cents, 25 cents will be displayed there. Right. Let me go back again so that we can all understand what we have done so far. So you can see that the question is saying calculate and display the average price of all the properties as a monetary unit with 2 decimal places in the EDT price. Okay, right. So I've said that you initialize your total because we want to calculate the total. So it has to be initialized because it's going to accumulate the total price. Okay, we have to go to the first record so that it starts counting or adding from the first record or from the first price of the first record, or the price of the first record. I mean, we have got our loop, and the begin. We start adding the prices from first property looping to the last property. Yes. And this is also very important because it moves it moves to the next record. It moves to the next record. Right. Then we end after calculating our total. Then we can calculate the average, which is total divided by the number of records. Then finally, we can display our average price in currents to 2 decimal places. Okay, right. Let's move on to the next question. Let me take it down so that at least we can have it on one page there. Right. 1.5. Question 1.5 is saying add the following data for a new property to the existing data in the property table. The data is AC8, which is the property ID, then OIM, which is the area, then 2, I think it's the number of, let me just go up there, must be the number of rooms. The number of rooms. Right. Then we have got this one must be the price of the property. Then Leona is the agent who is selling that property, or the agent who is selling that property, that's Leona. Then they also say there is a swimming pool on that property. Remember, if you go up there, you can see that swimming pool is represented there. It's a Boolean, field which you have to choose true or false, which takes true or false. So let me go down again. And so this property has got a swimming pool. Right. Write your own. Okay, so we are going to deal with this and how to enter the information there. Right. So, in other words, we are adding a record. We are adding a record to our table. It's a new record. Okay. Right. So when you're adding a record into a table, the first thing you have to put your add or table in insert mode. You have to put your add or table in insert mode so that it knows that you want to insert. Right. Then the second thing is to go to the last record, because maybe you want to insert, don't want to insert at the middle of the table, but it's more preferable for you to insert at the end of the records. Is it at the end of your table instead of inserting at the middle? So you insert at the end of your table. So you're again setting up or putting your other table at the other table case at the last record, is it? At the end of your, not last of your table or at the end of your table. But now our table is in set mode and it's pointed to the last at the end of the table. Right. So we call this, remember this is our data module name, then the table name, then the field. The first field is ID. So specified ID, what value is it going to take? They say AC8, actually it's AC8, yeah? It's AC8. So we put AC8 there. That. We go on to the next item or next field, which is area. The area, they said it must be for Limpopo. Is it lip or lim? I'm sure it's lim. Lim, yeah, not lip. I'll remove this P and put M. So it's lim. That's the area. Then we need, it's not the swimming pool here, but actually it's sorry, it's supposed to be the price now. The price of the property. The price of the property is 1,200,000. So this is the value for the price of the property, which is the one here, right? So that's the price of the property. But then we go to the agent. The name of the agent. The name of the agent is Leona. That's the name of the agent. Then here, the next one is swimming pool, please. Swimming pool. Swimming pool, remember, it's a Boolean field, which takes two fields, true or false. So in this case, they said there's a swimming pool on this property. So it means this property has got a swimming pool. So what we simply have to do is to put a true. It is not quoted. You don't quote like what we did here. You don't quote Boolean values and numerical values, is it? That's why I didn't put quotes here and here. You don't put quotes on Boolean values or numerical values. So that's why I didn't quote here. So then the next one, we have to post our information. We are adding them to the table now. This post function, it adds the information to our table. So the information has been posted, and you also need a feedback. You need a feedback to say, for example, the record successfully saved, so that at least you know that the record has been added to the table. It's just feedback. It's good programming practices for you to put this feedback. Is it? Instead, otherwise it will be just quiet. It will click, then it doesn't give you feedback. Then you won't know whether the record has been added or not. Okay. I hope you've understood there. I'll go through it again. You have to put a table, add a table in set mode. You have to go to the end of the table. Then you start adding your fields. Okay. You start adding your fields the way I've done there. You add your fields, you add your fields, add your fields. Remember, if this field is not, the value for the field is not specified, and in the table there, the field is written as required, then it will throw an error because the field won't be having a value here. And also, the order of inserting does not necessarily matter. Maybe for the primary key, it matters. You can always start with the primary key value followed by the other values, but the order doesn't necessarily matter. Okay, the order of the values when you are inserting them or you are adding a new record does not necessarily matter. Okay, guys. I'm sure you have understood this one. Right. I'm moving on to the next question. Next question. Question 1.6. Question 1.6. Right. Question 1.6 is saying, remove all the properties from the property table that have a price of more than 3,500,000. Then you display a message to indicate that the properties have been removed. Okay, and you put a message to say the property. Let's read the question again. Remove all the properties from the property table that have a price of more than 3,500,000, then you display a message to indicate that the properties have been removed. Okay, right. As usual, we have to go to the first point to the first record of your table. Right, you have to point to the first record of your table. Right, after pointing to the first record of your table, you can put your table in edit mode. Why edit? Because we want to remove some records. Obviously, your table will be tampered. The structure of your table will be tampered with because some records are going to be lost by deleting. Okay. Then we've got our loop. As usual, we are looping from the first. Let me remove TBL there. We are looping from the we are looping through the table, right, from the first record until the end of our table. So it's saying until, not end of table. So as long as we haven't reached the end of the table, to keep on looping. Right, then we begin. We have got a condition here. The condition is the property, the price of this property. So we are saying if TBL, of course, I have to put this data module, otherwise it will give me an error there. I have to put the data module name where my data module components are. Right, so if the price of this property, remember we're checking the first property first, is greater than 3,500,000, then we begin. What are we doing? We are deleting the record. We are deleting the record. Then we move on to the next. We move on to the next record and do the same again. We are checking it again, whether it's greater than the 3,500,000. We delete if it does. If it doesn't, then this two codes won't be, this code won't be executed. Okay, I think this next must come outside this outside the begin. So that. Okay, so it will do that, it goes to the next. But this one, it depends on how you want it. If a record is deleted, maybe you want to say, okay, the record has been deleted each and every time the record is deleted. But if you want it to be displayed at once, just after all the records have been deleted, you can you can just put this message outside the loop. As you can see there, this is the end of the loop. This is the end of this if here. Let me just align it so that you can see. Then this is the end of the loop there. So it means that this message will be shown once after all the records which meet criteria or which match what. Okay, right. So after the properties with a price greater than 3,500,000, then it will come here and show you a message to say the records have been deleted. Remember, this is very important. It has to go to the next record and check and goes to the next. It will push this the record. It will go to the next record. Actually, this one will make the cursor go to the next record. If you don't put this, you will see that your program will freeze because you fail to go to and check to the next record. Okay, so you have to always make sure that this next is always there, so that the next record will be checked after the other, and so forth and so forth. Okay, let me take you back again just to go through. Remove all the properties from the properties table that have a price of more than 3,500,000 and display a message to indicate that the properties have been removed. Okay, I said you point to the first record, you put your add table in edit mode, you look through at the records, checking if the price of each record is greater than 3,500,000. If so, delete the record. You end. You move on to the next record. You check again. You perform if the criteria is met. If not, then it will be ignored. Move on again to the next record. Okay, then at the end, when everything is done, when all the records which meet these criteria are deleted, then this message will come and say the properties have been deleted or removed. Okay, but any questions on that? You can forward your questions. If you have got questions, guys, send them. Right. Let's move on to the next one. The next one. Right. This one is saying, convert the price of the property with ID AC3 to dollar and display the answer in edit dollar. Round the dollar price off to the whole number. Assume $1 is equals to 8.40 cents. Right. Okay. The first thing is to locate or to find the property which has got this ID. That's the first thing. We have to find that property. So, of course, we use a Boolean variable to find to use the search perform the search operation. So I've got my Boolean variable which is initialized to false, meaning that we don't know the property from the word go, but we have to go to the first record, point to the first record of our table. Right. Then we loop through the table in trying to find this record. So we are saying if, of course, we put the data module here. Let me just put the data module name. Right. So if the data module name dot table field ID is equal to AC, is it AC3? Yes, AC3. Then begin. Right. What are we beginning? We have to calculate there, please. Before we display, we have to calculate to change the amount. So we are saying we can have another variable here on top, and we can call it other dollars, because we are going to change the value of our property or the price of our property to dollars. So we are now saying, right, we have found this, okay? What are we doing? We are changing the price to dollars. So other dollars is equal to, right, this field, the property field of price, right. Of course, we need the data module name, which I'm going to take here. Data module name is this. So we are now saying the price divide by the rate. The rate is 840. Divide by 840. So right. So I can put bracket if you want, but it's not necessary. Right. So what will happen here is my price is now being converted to rand, $2, sorry. They are now converted to dollars because we are saying whatever amount we have in rands divided by $8, 8 rand 40 cents, will get the amount in dollars, is it? Then we come here, what are we displaying? We are displaying the dollars. So I'm saying $. This is the format I will explain this. So I'm saying after dividing or converting my money or the price of the property into dollars, then I can display the amount in the edt $.text string to float f. F is for formatting again. What are we formatting? Our money in it will be in currency. Right, it will be I can put a 10 there, the number of digits before the comma, and the number of decimal places. Okay, right. So this amount will be in dollars. The amount changed in dollars. Then what am I saying here? Then I can say B found is equals to true, right? Because I would have found my property with this ID, right? Or else, if not B found, meaning that if B found is true false, the property is not found, I can show a message to say property with ID AC3 not found, then I can exit. Right, then you can exit. Right. Or else the other thing you can also do, you can say here, you can come here and say, we said not this, while not end of the table, and B found equal to false. Right. Right. So this will make our program more efficient, meaning that once B found becomes true, then it will stop looping the rand there. But if you don't do this, it will loop until it finishes all the records, right? Because it will be still looking for the next record as long as it isn't found. But if you put it this way, it means once these two conditions are, once it's not at the end of the file and B found is false, that's when it can keep on looping. Once the value of B found changes to true, then the looping will stop, then the program will exit. Okay, so that's how you were supposed to answer this assessment, guys. Again, if you, that's the end of this, and we have done it. But if you have got some questions, I can come back so that you can see my email. This is my email. You can always email me on that email if you have got questions. And also you must email those assessments so that I can also see how you are doing. Okay. Until we meet again tomorrow, goodbye.